a little bit of an itch going on there. Hello y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome for what feels like a video I haven't done in a long time, and that is an anti-haul. Partly because of the current climate, we're just not releasing as much, which is good. That's good. We should take this experience and apply it to the rest of everything after this has gone through. Let's take deep down inside of ourselves and realize that it's actually better to not release something every other week. Not that these brands haven't been trying to make those sales by sending you incessant emails repeatedly about how you're stuck at home and how you should spend your money on their products. But in all seriousness, we should be releasing less. So, because we haven't reached that level of enlightenment yet, I am here with a little bit of a more practical anti-haul. There are some things on this list that I'm like, you know what, I'm just not gonna buy. We do have a few passionate things, but for the most part, we're just like going along because, you know, we've been releasing less and doing a low buy and being more whatever and woke that I am now. I just scroll through and I'm like, there is nothing. Like, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'm saying I'm not gonna buy this just because there's no need. It's unnecessary. And so it takes me a little bit longer to actually accrue a list of things that make me feel a certain kind of way inside. So we've got some of those. We're gonna got my cute little notes here. And the first thing we're gonna start out with is the Givenchy Le 9 de Givenchy eyeshadow palette. Y'all know how I feel about a lot of higher tier luxury makeup. It's marketed to a certain demographic. I don't fall into that demographic. If I'm ever gonna buy anything luxury, I'm gonna take my butt over to Michelle Wang's channel because she's the only person I trust when it comes to reviewing and talking about that luxury level. But y'all, this palette, which is Givenchy, I love their clothing. Not that I have any because I'm poor, but as a clothing brand, aesthetically, they appeal to me. However, this palette is so expensive. I was scrolling through and I was just like, that better be a typo. There ain't no way this little thing here is gonna be that much money. Please tell me somebody made a mistake. And part of my anti-haul, just overall disgust at this, is you look at it and it don't look like a nearly $100 palette to me. When you have eyeshadows that are pressed and formed like the cheap ones we got in those nasty little early 2000s, 90s makeup kits, like what is that imprint doing on this high-end luxury palette? And then to be a company that charges nearly $100 for this eyeshadow palette, and then to have the audacity to include in it little sponge tip applicators, which you can get about 1,000 for $1 at the dollar store. I'm just sitting here like, you charging, oh my nose, but you charging this excessive premium for something that doesn't even look expensive. And then, I mean, just cut out the sponge tip applicators. I feel that takes away every ounce of luxury. When have we ever thought that luxury meant sponge tip applicators? Just cut that section out. Don't include them at all. Don't even include a brush. Just give us the little quad. I just thought that was absurd. I mean, just like the presentation, it's like,
hi, we're like $87 and we have sponge tip applicators.
I'm not knocking the sponge tip applicator. They're great for applying a shimmer, but I mean, when you are such a pricey brand, I feel it behooves you to have sort of a higher standard of luxury. Something that's sort of just not gonna get, not my thing, not my whatever. Too Faced melted chocolate liquid eyeshadow. I don't do liquid eyeshadow. I don't do cream. eyeshadow. Just not something that kind of gets me going. I never jumped on the Stila glitter whatever bandwagon. I know NARS released some whatever. Too Faced released those like Crystal Whips ones that are part of the Peach collection. Then they're doing these ones that are matte. It's just not something, I mean, it's being released and I'm just like, okay, all right, something else to pitch in the bin that I'm not buying. Something else I'm not buying from Urban Decay is the Moondust, where is it? Urban Decay Moondust Glitter Liquid Face and Body Luminizer. Now y'all know your girl likes walking around looking like an ethereal something something. I got my Jeffree Star Supreme Frost. I got my Ciate London Glow 2 highlighters. They got a little sparkle. They got a little twinkle to them. But y'all know that I like glitter in a very controlled environment. I don't like going in and just being like, you know, Jesus, take the wheel, we'll see what happens. And if y'all know that I like my glitter in a controlled environment, a glitter that they're telling me to put on my body, I know that ain't gonna end well. If I want glitter, I'll just tap, tap, tap. I don't need it suspended in a liquid that's for my face and for my body that's gonna end up getting everywhere. Urban Decay does not have a good track record of creating glitter products that stay in one place. I decluttered those big clunky naked highlighters. You know, it's from Urban Decay, and the fact that it's just got glitter, I just no. No. I love highlighter, don't get me wrong, but for someone who's as anal as me and for someone who's thinking about past experiences, this is just a big flat no. Another sort of just, I'm not getting it, is the Artist Couture Supreme Nudes and Pressed Pigment eyeshadow palette. I mean, it's more beautiful than that first one they released. I anti-hauled that one because it just didn't, I thought it was very disjointed and didn't look very cohesive. This one is super, super neutral, but it's at least pretty, you know? It's a kind of thing, whereas if I didn't have a lot of neutrals or I didn't have neutrals that I loved, it might be a color story that I would be slightly possibly interested in. But I've got Colorpop, I've got Melt Cosmetics, I've got other neutrals from formulas and brands that I love and know that I use. I'll need to be bringing in no neutral palette from a brand and a formula that I've never tried. If any of y'all have, definitely let us know down below if it's any kind of good, because there are a lot of pretty colors in there. But taking my preferences and my needs and my whatevers into consideration, it's just another neutral palette. And I understand that they are a new brand, they're establishing themselves, but why do we always have to establish ourselves with like a boring neutral palette? It's like, look, here's something that can appeal to everyone. I don't get it. It's not anything that I'm interested, you know, it's kind of pretty, it's whatever, but it's just for the price and for the whatever, it's just a no. Okay, we gotta have something else from Too Faced. The Tutti Frutti, I'm not even sure what it's called. The new addition to their Tutti Frutti little mini eyeshadow palette. So it's like the melon one, which I admit, I looked at it and I was like, ooh, that melon shade is cute. And that has that really deep shade all the way on the other end. I was like, okay, all right, this is cute. This is sweet. This is something that's like, it's not too bad. But y'all, I decluttered the other two, the coconut one and the berry one, because Too Faced doesn't have a formula I absolutely love. I can't tell you how many times I've said that. And it's okay. I feel with those palettes, the problem that I had with the first two that I had that I ended up decluttering is you kind of got the same look. You know, there isn't a lot of variety. It's like kind of curated. If I'm going to go for a smaller palette, I'm going to go for something that's more neatly curated, like my monochromatic palettes from Colorpop. This just isn't, I'm glad that they're extending the Tutti Frutti line. I mean, excuse me, burp squad. Whenever you hear my voice kind of like quaver off, it's because, yeah, burp. You know, it's just not something that I saw and was like, yeah, I feel so interested in purchasing that. It's just no. It's a little palette with cute Tutti Frutti packaging, a nice melon shade, and that nice deep shade, which I'm sure I have in a myriad of other palettes. It's just kind of there. Too Faced suffers from, they either do these big, huge collections, like when they did the Tutti Frutti, or when they did the Sweet Peach whateverness, and then they'll just kind of add to those collections, just kind of boop, 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 You know, here's the whips, whatever, for the peach. You know, here's a little whatever for the Tutti Frutti. And don't get me wrong, the Tutti Frutti blushes are one of my top 10 favorite blushes. But they're just kind of like, oh, here's an eyeshadow palette and here's a whatever. And it's just, I'm just like, no, I'm over it. I'm not really interested in investing my money in Too Faced products, not Too Faced eyeshadows. Their Born This Way foundation and their Tutti Frutti blushes I will always purchase, but anything else I'm just kind of like, eh. Okay, something that is a anti-haul because I wouldn't buy it because it's a cream product. The Dominique Cosmetics Skin Glass. She released that highlighter palette and there's apparently a shade and a formula in it that everyone went crazy for. So she took it and she released 4 different shades. And let me tell you, the promo pictures for these, my goodness, they look so beautiful. Like, if these were powder highlighters, I would have to really, really pull myself back because y'all know I love highlighters. I love powder highlighters. I love me a beautiful, clean aesthetic. You also know I'm trying not to bring any new highlighter into the collection because I have plenty. But looking at that picture of these, I was just like, oh my stars. Those promo pictures were kissed by angels from heaven. They were just so beautiful and they looked so ethereal and gorgeous. And I was just, it took me a minute. It threw me for a loop there because it was just, I had to stop scrolling. I was like, oh, what's up? You pretty. But it is a cream product. I don't know. I have Natasha Denona cream whatevers that I use, and we're gonna keep it at that. But like with all this stuff, if y'all have tried it and it's fantastic and amazing, let us know down below because that picture just, it was very hypnotizing. Then if we're talking about a highlighter that I had to declutter for practical reasons, not because it's bad, not because it's not something that I would love to have, but because I'm trying not to put more highlighter in my collection. Becca decided they were going to release the Own Your Light highlighter, which is a peachy pinky beautifulness. And y'all know, when it comes to those Becca highlighter releases, I tend to go all Pokemon trainer and I gotta catch them all. I really, really think this is all kinds of pretty, and the Becca collector in me is like, I would like to have that. And for a split second, I was like, yeah, you should buy it. And then I was like, you need $38 for one thing that you don't need, that you're trying not to put into your collection, that you probably have something pretty similar in your collection already. Are you really wanting to buy it because it's going to add so much depth to your collection and experience? Are you wanting to buy it because it's a new fancy schmancy Becca limited edition highlighter? I mean, we all know the answer to that. I know I'm going to buy that for $38. If it goes on sale and I have birthday money or something like that, yeah, sure. If it shows up at Marshall's, yeah, sure. But for $38, adding another highlight into the chaos that is my makeup collection, I was very responsible and I just told myself no. And I mean, when it comes to like doing the anti-hauling and the low buying, if I could say no to a fancy Becca limited edition highlighter, I could say no to anything. Then speaking of saying no to anything, Wet n Wild has released a collection of their fantasy makers. I think this was probably a collection that was meant to be released for like festival season. I mean, ain't nobody going to any festivals right now or anywhere in the near future. But you got makeup in production, you got to put it out anyway. And they had, as part of that collection, everything else, I was like, okay, whatever. But they had these beautiful highlighters. And like I said, you all know it's just highlighter. And they look so pretty. And they have a loose one. And you know, I love that formula. They got the little compact ones. And I'm like, it's so pretty. But I have a huge, ginormous section of Wet n Wild highlighters that I don't use now. I'm being practical, you know, it's just something that I want it because it's pretty, it's shiny, it's highlighters, it's affordable. I'm not purchasing as much from Wet n Wild because I'm unsure and unclear on their cruelty-free status. If y'all have any insight, let me know down below or maybe link me a video. But I don't need any more limited edition Wet n Wild highlighters. It is not a facet, a section in my makeup collection that is lacking in any sort of way. They do look pretty though. They do look pretty. We might as well get another highlighter out of the way. The anti-hauling highlighter hurts me inside. Because y'all know how much I love that shiz. But the I Heart Revolution, they're releasing like a peach one, an apple one, and a strawberry one. So aesthetic already, I'm like, those look really cute. I Heart Revolution is an affordable brand. I thought it was kind of funny. I saw these, and Makeup Revolution, one of their first like famous dupe products was duping the Too Faced chocolate bars, and I was like, wow, they've been duping Too Faced for how many years? Took them a long time to get on this bandwagon, because these blushes, these highlighters are very Too Faced sort of esque. But second verse, same as the first, I don't need any more highlighters. They're in probably what looks like tin packaging, so they're probably going to be really bulky. You would have seen in my highlighter declutter, I decluttered those really big heart ones from Makeup Revolution because they were just big, they were clunky, they weren't getting any kind of use, they were like a baked formula that I couldn't get on with. And so taking that into consideration with all like the way as cute and as look they smell apparently, it's just something that I need to be like, you don't need to spend, even if it's affordable. You have highlighters in your collection that you need to rotate more. Don't be bringing nothing in there. And so they look really cute and really pretty and really nice. I gotta stay strong and I gotta say no. Okay, let's talk about something that makes me a little bit, I don't want to say salty. I'm not personally offended. I just think this kind of product is stupid. But the Benefit Mini Superstar Wardrobe, which is a set filled with minis. Set is $90, and I admit the mini size of Benefit's blushes are actually pretty great, and I think you get 2 or 3 of those. So that's not too bad. But I'm sitting here and I see this and I'm like, oh, it's a minis collection set. Did we not make enough of these during holiday? Did y'all not remember all of those that went on clearance and sale because people weren't buying them? There is such a high demand for them that we're now making them in spring/summer. My feelings for this go with all of those sets from me. Yeah, it's from one whole brand, but it's like, just take the $90 and get something you really, really want. Don't spend it. Oh, little collection of these little minis that you may or may not use that are fiddling around in your makeup drawer. And when you do a declutter, you're like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about this trial size of this mascara or this eyeliner that I'm never going to use. This, you know, I feel like it's just, I don't like them. I understand some people do. That's great. We're all opinion based. You keep doing you, boo-boo. But I just look at this and I'm like, really? Really? I mean, we do these during holiday and I anti-haul them then and I see them now and I'm just like $90 for a bunch of little minis when you could take that money and really get you something good for you can get a lot for $90. For $90, go get you some that Natasha Denona level. But just a whole collection of minis, I'm just like, that's stupid. That's stupid. Benefit is a company that occasionally releases something that's really good, like the cookie and the whatever highlighter. I would love to have those. Benefit isn't cruelty free. And then the rest of the time, they just keep re-releasing the products that they make in little miniature and set forms. It's something that they're good at, so I guess they're just staying true to themselves. Okay, this next one, I almost laughed out loud when I saw this. I didn't even see it on Trend Mood. I think I was scrolling through the what's new on Sephora. From NARS, a pricey brand, a brand that has an established relationship, an established sense of quality. And this product literally reads as, the description reads as NARS Laguna Bronzer Powder with Gold Overspray. I just saw that and I was like, okay, all right, points to them for becoming self-aware and including the fact that there is an overspray in the title. Thank you at least for that. But is that a selling point? Are we really being like, look, we're releasing this nifty Laguna bronzer and oh boy, it has a glitter, does it say glitter? No, gold overspray. Like, overspray is the bane of so many, let me know one person who enjoys and likes and would pay extra for overspray. Like, I'm glad they're admitting it. That is great. That is a level of self-awareness I haven't seen in the community for a long time. But the fact that it's overspray, and the fact is just like, look, this beautiful, super expensive, limited edition, the overspray is a selling point? I mean, it's just like Laguna bronzer, ooh, with gold overspray, and suddenly that makes it so much more magical? It's overspray. Like, why? What possessed them to think, I mean, overspray, okay, all right, whatever. I mean, overspray on a bronzer is just, I mean, I know we like a glowy, whatever, but it's an overspray. It's an overspray. It serves no purpose other than to look good for that one picture you take for Instagram. So why we're using overspray as a marketing tactic, I mean, before it was a marketing tactic, but it was silent. You know, they're just like, you look at that and you're like, oh, that's so pretty. And you get it home and you're like, well, that prettiness is now gone. Kind of like those NYX ombre blushes where the ombre part, the lighter part wasn't actually in the blush. It was an overspray. It was an overbit. Like I said, I don't know anyone who is out here looking to purposefully buy a product with overspray on it. So props for it being in the description, but I just saw that and I was just like, we're admitting it? All kinds of strange and whatever emotions conjured up by that, because I'm just like, wow, we've reached the point where we're literally letting people know that we're doing the overspray, and for some reason that might make it a selling point. Like, can you imagine people hauling that shit and being like, oh, look at this really pretty bronzer I have. It has an overspray that totally does absolutely nothing for the product, but I knew about it before I bought it. People are gonna buy it for the Instagram and for the whateverness and for the bouginess and for the limited editionness, but no, I'm not out here. No, it's overspray. Something else I'm just not gonna buy for just because I'm not. The new Colorpop Celestial something collection. I mean, it's just, you know, 2 palettes. One that's kind of purpley neutral that looks like something they released like 2 months ago. And the other one that's kind of like a just traditional neutral that looks like something they released like last week. When it comes to Colorpop collections, 99.9% of them do absolutely nothing for me. They're just these sort of rehashed neutral shades done all over and over again, put in a different arrangement and marketed as a different aesthetic. And then when they do a collection that really does excite me, like Sailor Moon, they're not able to take enough units to provide the supply for the demand. Whereas we have collections like this, where I'm sure there'll be plenty. It's like I said, it's a Colorpop collection. And when it comes to most Colorpop collections, if you have one, you got them all. I mean, I remember when Colorpop was just starting to release their palettes and they were like, you know, they were steady, they were good, and people were like, I gotta collect all the Colorpop. There ain't no way no one could collect all the Colorpop palettes. Now you're gonna go broke just from that, because they release them so frequently and so often, and they all look the same. I mean, every time Colorpop does a release, I'm like, oh, okay, another one of these. There's just nothing interesting or exciting or new. It's not even that it's something new in the industry. It's not even something new compared to what else they release. You know, it's just not a thing that I feel like doing. You know, there's some Colorpop things that I love. They release a monochromatic, I'm gonna be on that shiz. They release this stuff and I'm just like, ginormous snooze fest. Then last but not least is something that I'm sure people will have differing opinions on. I mean, people have differing opinions on everything I've talked about. But Jeffree Star Cosmetics decided that it was going to re-release the mini controversy palette with that green shade that everyone saw and fell in love with during the documentary that was not included in either of the eyeshadow palettes. So they decided, hey, we're gonna release re-release the mini controversy with the green shade in it. Now, it has been released also as a single, which I think is very nice and is probably a prelude to him selling singles. But I feel like it's kind of, I mean, people aren't stupid. Maybe they knew this, maybe they knew this was gonna happen, but when you have so much feedback on something and then you choose to ignore the feedback, I'm just like, why? And so it feels like now that we're re-releasing this, we're kind of like, oh, now we understand and we've got all the whatevers from y'all. We've heard, and now we are graciously giving you what you initially wanted in the first place. I feel like it's kind of a like smack in the face for all of those people that went through the hassle of getting the first one. It's like, yeah, I took so much time and so much stress and so much whatever to get this first one. And then you're re-releasing it with a different shade. So it's like, you know, do I buy this new one with the new shade in it? Because people are going to be like, oh, well, but he has it as a single if people just wanted that. It's like, yeah, but what about people who don't want a single shadow? What about people who don't have a magnetic palette to put it in? There's just a disconnect from just the level of practicality. I just think it's kind of asinine to just be like, oh, we released it this way and it broke the internet, but we're gonna release it this way how you actually wanted it. And I'm someone who loves me a green shimmer. And I will admit, that green shimmer do look poppin'. But I just have sort of issues with kind of the whole, oh, well, we'll have like, you know, the one and then we're gonna re-release it. It's like, did you really wait because people were like, we really want it that way? Or did you know that you were gonna do the re-release after the initial run? Obviously, I'm not a marketing major. I don't have a degree, but I find it just a little bit suspect. So yeah, I am anti-hauling that. And that is the end of this wonderful anti-haul. I hope to be doing more of these as I'm doing my low buy, but quite frankly, right now, the makeup market is on a lower level of saturation, which is great. I'm reveling in it. But it also makes for making anti-hauls a little bit whatever because there's not as much for me to crap on. Obviously, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions on these products down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!